I tell you what, that's a stunning ball flight. Okay, welcome back to the channel, everybody. So it's 3-wood comparison video for you today with the 3 big brands in golf. So we've got the Callaway Paradym, Ping G430, and also the TaylorMade Stealth 2. We're going to hit all 3 of these fairway woods. I'm going to give you my personal preference on these clubs, and we'll see how they perform against each other. Okay, so the 3-wood category. I think a lot of golfers tend to find the 3-wood sometimes a difficult club to hit. Probably the club we're going to hit from the ground, maybe our second shots on those longer par 4s into par 5s as well. So sometimes golfers who might not have the speed and struggling to get the launch and some distance on the shots, they sometimes are a little bit tricky. So technology maybe is there to maybe try and help us low in CG, trying to get that flight up. And these 3 fairway offerings from these 3 big brands, Callaway, Ping and TaylorMade, are offering exactly just that. A little bit more help, get that ball launching, bit of forgiveness, so we're going to compare them. Okay, so we're going to kick things off with the Ping. So this is G430 Max. Obviously they do an LST, low spin version, which is going to be coming soon. It's a later release, and also the SFT, which is more of a straight flight technology. Adjustability in the neck sleeve, 15 degrees as standard, but you can move that around by loft and also lie, which is quite nice. We've got some offerings there. So Ping, and I've done videos on the past with the Ping fairway woods, and I always feel like they're one of the easiest to launch fairway woods out on the market. Low profile head, it looks like somebody's just stood and squashed it, very low profile, get that CG low, obviously getting that flight high. And the G430 is no exception there. Does sit great behind that golf ball. Matte black finish, a little bit of carbon effect coming through the air. We've got that carbon fly wrap that Ping are introducing into their fairway woods. And it sits good. It looks to be quite a lot of loft there for 15 degrees. You can see plenty of the club face there, which might just give you that little bit of confidence of getting it launched. Yeah, and that's a good opening shot there with the Ping there, nice and straight, flighted very nicely. It's very distinctive Ping sound to that, as you're going to expect from Ping. Again, good flight, just a little bit leaky up the right with that particular shot, but it's flighted quite nicely. So, as I say, squashed down, you can see that side profile of the head very much tapered back into that back section of the head. We've got a weighted plate in the back of the golf club there. Again, that's going to make that centre of gravity pull down and back, helping to get that launch. Oh, that felt a touch heely, but it's flown fantastically well. And the Ping are very renowned for that stability in there, especially the drivers, as we've maybe seen in other videos, but I think also translating that into the fairway woods, definitely getting some real good sort of forgiveness on those slight mishits. Now, as I mentioned, we've got some adjustability in this neck sleeve, so we can move that loft up and down by up to 1.5 degrees. We've also got changing some lie angles, and we can actually make this more flatter. So if you're the type of golfer, say a right-handed golfer who tends to have a little bit more of a left miss, that flatter lie setting is a really good option. So you have got availability there to dial this club face how you want to sit it, the loft that you want to match up maybe with a club delivery and a shot pattern. Oh, that wasn't the greatest. Just turned a touch up the left-hand side, but it's gone very nicely. Again, it's flighted. So I think the big advantage with these sort of low profile heads is that ease of flight, as I sort of mentioned. You know, we'll get on that golf course and sometimes these lies might just be sat down a little bit. You might have a little bit of a downhill lie, which with the fairways is really difficult to get that ball launched, especially if you haven't got lots of club head speed. So any help we can get in the club head, I think is always going to be a good thing. Slightly up the left, but good flight on that with the Ping. Okay, so there's some shots hit with the Ping. Let's move on. Right, so switching now into the TaylorMade, so the Stealth 2, obviously new version for 2023. Now, again, first initial looks of this, it looks pretty good. It looks a nice looking golf club. We've got a bit more of a gloss finish on the top, as we've seen maybe with the driver in reviews. And sitting that down by the golf ball here, it sits quite nice. It does sit a little bit toed in. I think we've obviously got twist face on this, and I think it's more noticeable when we see more loft on the club, that the sort of twist in that face. It just looks a little bit like the face is a bit skewy, if that makes sense. It's very noticeable there. It just sits a little bit toed in for me. Obviously that can be beneficial if you've got a little bit more of that right miss. The other big thing here now with the Stealth 2 is no adjustability in the neck sleeve. And I think, you know, yes, they do that titanium version, which has the adjustability, but it's a little bit of a different head for maybe that different type of golfer, a different price point as well, much more expensive. So without the adjustability there, we haven't got options to maybe sit that club face how you would like to maybe see it sit. We haven't got options of dialing loft in to suit a delivery or even lie angle as well as we have with the other two options. So maybe a little bit more limited on that front. That's a good shot. Again, nice high flight there, no issues of getting that up in the air launching. So we've got that V steel sole that TaylorMade have done for many, many generations, which I think is a fantastic bit of technology. I think they should always sort of try and keep that in. They've got that speed pocket at the front. So typically with a fairway wood shot, and exactly what I've just hit on that particular shot, sometimes the strikes can get a little bit low, especially when we're hitting from the ground. So that speed pocket can always just help getting that little bit of that ball speed up and just sort of recovering those miss hits. Okay, that wasn't the greatest of strikes, but again, it's flown nicely, it's got up, worked up that left-hand side, take that as a miss strike. Yeah, and that's the shot I feel like I'm gonna hit with this club. Because of just the way it sits down by that ball, a little bit towed, and I feel like I'm going to hit that little pulley sort of shot. Again, if you're maybe struggling with a slight right miss, then this would obviously help you out a little bit with that club face as it sits. That's plenty of height on that. That's launching very sort of easily. It feels really good. The sound's good. It feels very solid off the club face. Okay, and finally move it into the Callaway, so the Paradym. Big launch from Callaway, as we always sort of expect from them for 2023. Very different now with this forged carbon that they have introduced into their club. So we can see that's on the sole, and also we've got the carbon on the top. So we've got this tungsten cartridge now. You can see this golden weight that's positioned down, but obviously forward in the head. So again, it's all about sort of getting that CG placement in a low positioning. Now, this sits, for me personally, absolutely beautiful down by the golf ball. That's the type of club, when I just sit it down, it sits absolutely square to my eye. It looks like it's hugging the ground, and it just looks like I've got to do nothing but just get this ball really sort of flighted, even maybe in the toughest of light. So big tick straight away there from Callaway. It looks good behind the ball, navy top, as we sort of see. The carbon doesn't show up unless you look really closely, so it just looks like a navy top with that grey front section, that little chevron as an alignment aid. Oh, that's a nice ball flight. Good solid feel to that. Looks like a little bit more of a forward flight, first impressions there. So again, 3 wood, it's 15 degrees of loft, as same as the other two have been, and I'm playing it at 15 degree, but we have got some adjustability with this in the Paradym. Oh, that's a little bit low in the toe, it felt, but the flight was very identical to that first one. Just coming out a little bit low with that slight low strike. So yeah, adjustability in the neck sleeve, Callaway neck sleeve, it's fantastic. You've got some adjustability with loft. We've got lie, so again, we can dial that loft in, lie in. We've got some advantages there of trying to work that flight, match up to your delivery and your tendencies, maybe your misses. Again, that's not the greatest of strikes, but it's up in a very similar area. Dispersion-wise, this is going to be pretty tight at the moment. So obviously, as from Callaway, we're going to see tons of tech in there. As I mentioned, the cartridge is forged carbon on the top. We've got this batwing jailbreak technology inside, so that's strengthening the crown to the sole to try and maintain energy, not losing anything, and putting that back through the face into that golf ball for ball speed. And Callaway made quite a big, bold claim here that this is up to 7 yards longer than previous model last year, the Rogue ST. Big claim that. We'll have a look at the numbers and see how this ball speed stacks with this. I tell you what, that's a stunning ball flight. That's the best ball flight I would personally like to see out of those 3 clubs. Looks to be quite strong, looks to be very forward. I would imagine, we'll look at the numbers in a minute, but I imagine this is going to be a little bit longer. Hit one more shot and we'll go and check a few numbers out. Oh, that's a touch low in the face, but again, it's away. Just flighted a tiny bit up, might have just spun a little bit more, that slight low strike, but take that all day long. Okay, let's go and check some numbers out. Okay, so let's look at those dispersion rings to start off with. So you see the blue there, maybe a little bit tighter potentially there with the Paradym. Front to back dispersion, the Stealth wins that by a country mile. And then sort of looking at the numbers here. Now, this is quite interesting. You can see it's probably 2 mile an hour difference of club head speed there on average from the Ping to the Callaway. Now, I didn't sort of feel that, to be fair, but I think maybe that confidence of the way that Callaway started, it felt really, or it looked really good. It looked really inviting. Maybe that just let me free up a little bit more, let me go for it. I don't know. But obviously a little bit more club head speed there with the Paradym. Obviously creating that little bit more ball speed there. Launch all very, very similar. And spin just a touch lower with the Paradym. So with that extra little bit of ball speed, a little bit lower spin, we're going to creep that little bit more distance out of that. The Ping, you can see, was a little bit more spinny, a couple of slight low shots, and I always feel like the Ping fairway woods are a little bit more spinnier in terms of other brands, but I think that's never a bad thing for maybe golfers with slightly less speed. Spin's good, you get that little bit of spin, keep that ball in the air with a little bit of launch. You're going to carry that ball a little bit further in terms of distance. Appreciate you watching. Post your comments below. Which one are you going to choose and why? Love to hear your thoughts as always. Appreciate you watching the videos. Hopefully catch up with you all very soon.